Morning, everyone out there. Thank you for joining us on today's live on a fresh edition after a long break. And we want to sincerely appreciate you for your patience and then for your commitment towards following us on Equa Television Africa. We are sincerely grateful that you are keeping a date with us. And today's live is back again, and then I have today with me Joyce Iyakwari, looking so fresh, ready for today's live after a long break.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Sambo. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you for coming today, after a long while handling some different assignment, and then today we are back again to hit today's live, and then I would like you to remind them what today's live is all about in case.
Okay, just for more like a refresher, today's live is a platform where we talk about societal issues. We discuss what is happening in our country and international, what is happening in the world, how we can relate to that. We bring up the topics and we make them, not watering them down, but we simplify them so that we can relate to one another, and sometimes we share our experiences too on the platform, so that at least if one person is going through something, you should know that okay, he's not alone, and you can easily relate your experience. So that is much about just few things I will have to say about today's life. It's interactive, and that's why we're on Facebook and YouTube too, where you can drop your comment, then we can pick it, discuss on the show, on your point, your opinion of what you think of a topic that is being discussed in the studio. If you allow me to talk, I'll talk from now to 11, 12, talking about today's life.
Yeah, sure. I believe it is very important, laying, just like you said, like a refresher, so that people would know, because, we have been off for this particular program for quite a long period of time. And then I'm happy, I'm glad today I'm back on this stage, to talk about life issues, things that affect us and then our brothers and our sisters out there. And I'm promising you that today's live of today, 2nd November, is going to be interesting, is going to be educating, is going to be informative, so just keep your dial there, and then we roll. And today we want to look at one key topic, what is really happening in the society today, that people talk about it, but they don't bring it to limelight. It seems like it's not something that is really eating up the society. Normally, you can only find people that are directly affected that talk about it.
I think mostly this topic, people talk about it in hush-hush tones. They don't really speak out. You just hear maybe whispers, hush-hush, or coming together in a gathering just to discuss it. And we've accepted it as a convention, as a norm, that if something happens like this is the situation and this is the solution to it. So, but it's rare to find that, okay, people see it, bring it to life, just like you said, discuss it in total, and even give recommendation on what should be done because of our justice system and how it is decaying in some way. So it's very important for us to talk about that. So I'll allow you to introduce the topic.
Okay, so talking about the judicial system, it's going to be a topic that had to do with crime, and then today's topic, we want to talk about jungle justice. Jungle justice, in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world entirely, and then why it happened, where and how, which part of the country, or which part of the continent, or which part of the world have a greater percentage, and then when things like this happen, where is the place of the judiciary? And then we as citizens, is it something that we keep quiet, or is it something that we talk about? Do we normally talk about the people that are responsible to hear us? Are they listening? Is it what part of the government? When I say what part of the government, is it the executive? Is it the judiciary, or the legislators? That are responsible, to really look into this particular issue. And then when you talk about jungle justice, we have to lay, just like you say, you break it down to
simplify it.
Yes. What's jungle justice? Someone would just ask.
I would like to use, I picked my word carefully so that I can explain it and people understand. And some of these definitions are from the internet, Wikipedia, and from search machines. Jungle justice is a form of mob rule in which people take the law into their hands and punish alleged offenders. Mob justice, because it's also jungle justice, is when a person suspected to be a criminal is beaten by a group of people or crowd with clubs, stones, machetes, or anything they can lay their hands on. Mob justice, also known as instant justice or jungle justice, occurs in various towns and cities in Nigeria and Ghana. I don't know why they specify that, but based on research and maybe the scale, you know that, okay, these are the places where it's topmost you can find jungle justice, especially in Ghana, and then in Nigeria. So simply, jungle justice is when people take laws into their hands, when maybe there is, maybe if a thief is being caught, or someone that rapes someone is being caught, before you know, people will gather around with stones, with clubs, with sticks to hit a person, to beat, or even to burn the person to death, like to torture the person before, authorities come into play. That's if at the end of the day they come before the damage is being done. So that's the jungle justice, and that's why it has that name, jungle justice, because it's done. You can term your society or the community or the place that is being done as jungle, then the justice is carried out by people in the jungle. So that's the term and that's the definition, simply.
Yeah. Well spoken, and I believe our listener out there have grabbed this definition. And then when you are talking, there's jungle, there's justice. You understand? And then when you talk about jungle, people have an idea that is somewhere that is bushy. Right? Somewhere that is bushy, where you could term it as a forest, or bush where human beings don't stay there.
Jungle is mostly, it doesn't have to be bush or people don't stay there. No. It's more of, I would like to use the term community of people of different, maybe a specific type of culture, like they share, some certain culture. And it's a jungle, just like the community, that you can find thugs, you can find people that can take these laws into their hands. You can find people that would not take any nonsense when, crime is being done in that area. There are some places that when you go to, you are even scared to even breathe, because you feel that's an offense to the people. You control yourself when you go to places like that. Yeah. You can't just, it's like saying, okay, let's call it urban justice. You understand? These crimes, this justice system is hardly found in urban settlement or let me not say cosmopolitan, but urban settlement. Like you can't go to a high-tech or well-organized community, and then jungle justice is happening. Like, how you that is a thief, how will you even start from? When you are being caught, all these big people, how they like to follow processes. Make a call, do this before, other people will come. But if your community is filled with area boys, that's the thugs I'm talking about, or before you, no matter, just by thinking about it, you're already down. It's a thought in your head. Before you even bring it out, say, okay, let me steal this mug from this store. You're already beaten. So it's mostly done in the jungle. It's mostly done in the community that we have all these area boys. We have all these like people that have given themselves that power you know, that, okay, they are the leaders of this community, they are the leaders, or this is their community, and nobody can come in to do nonsense or to mess up in one way or the other. So it's not like it's not found in urban, but just like I said, mostly in the jungle, in these communities that is filled up with this type of people. Okay. And even maybe the market too. You know, the market is a combination of different types of people, and in the market together, you have to be sensitive. Yes, and in the market there are different people. That have different experiences. When something is done, we don't even want to wait for any authority. They take it upon themselves. I don't want to go deep into why people take laws upon themselves, because I understand that this topic is, you know, wide, and would like to stretch it to maybe the next day, but.
Okay, yes. You know, I look at it in this way, you know, when you say jungle justice, in summary, to add to what you say, is just where that there is no law. Where there is no law, where everyone feel like
he's the king.
He's the king. His opinion matters. His things doesn't go his own way. You know, he reacts, and then people do things and no one question them why they do certain things.
That's one aspect. Then there's a community that is not mostly about, okay, maybe they are the king of the place, but maybe out of anger experience, just like I said, you know, anger experience, and maybe they are they've experienced situations like that when something like this, a crime happens, they call the authority, but before someone comes, you know, maybe they can just come, take the criminal, and before you know, at the end of the day, he's being released. You will be angry because this person did something bad. He committed a crime, which there should be processes duly followed, and there should be, his offenses should be dealt with. You know, you expect a lot from the authorities, but at the end of the day, the person is a free man walking on the streets. What do you expect? You take the laws into your hands, even though that's not a good reason enough, or that's not what we're encouraging. But we really want to see how the justice system can step up, you know, to look into this. And believe me, if you look at the history of jungle justice in Nigeria, you believe that it has, you know, watered down a bit. It was back then that jungle justice was the in thing. Like, so why wouldn't it even go down when we have so many of criminal offenses now, or criminal activities, the banditry, the terrorism, the what have you, like so many of these things, you know, coming up. One will have to step down for the other to, you know, be relevant, or maybe. Yes.
Because we are expected, we as human, there's a certain way we are supposed to behave. And then you have laws that govern or guide people in a certain place, which you are being expected, because they said where there is no where there is no law, is that the saying?
Is it where there is no sin?
Where there is no sin, there is no law. So, you know, law is to guide us on how to do certain things.
Yes.
But the problem here is that you look at it, that we have a judicial system that is supposedly to be working. Because if based on your summary, all of this has happened when someone, you know, is being caught or is being alleged of stealing or raping someone. And then that's when you find that in some cases the entire community, but in some cases not the entire community, but some few selected people will just take the law into their hands, you know, and then setting the law aside and then doing what they feel like doing. And then you begin to ask, okay, if that's the case, what's the need for the law? You know, if the law says if you caught someone stealing, this is what you are supposed to do, take him to police station, then the police will do their work, you know, find out, investigate, it truly is that person, did he steal that, or did he commit that particular crime? And then you now go back to the law and say, okay, this is what the law says to, or take him to the court, and then the court will interpret and say, okay, this is what you have done, and then this is the punishment according to the law. But you hardly find that coming. And then in this country, Nigeria, where we are, we had incidents of all of this crime, mopping, and then jungle justice. You mentioned something like mostly in an organized setting. You hardly find that.
Yes.
But you find issue of jungle justice so loud, when Lagos is mentioned. And Lagos is supposed to be an organized city, so to say. So are we trying to say that in this situation, like the law is not really working? But when you say Lagos, yes, Lagos is big. And then you can't generalize and say entire Lagos. Particularly, you have to narrow it down. Okay, yes, we have Lagos, but in some areas, this is where you will find some of these things that are more pronounced. We have, I have a statistic with me here that later we'll just go through.
Okay.
The number of people being lynched, across the 36 states, including the federal capital.
You just mentioned Lagos, right? Lagos is a cosmopolitan state. It's still developing.
Yeah.
It's crowded. And the system of policing in Nigeria is not as accordingly how it's supposed to be. You don't have one police to one person, or you don't have a system that truly works that will contain everyone, There are times that someone is being apprehended and his trial will take a very long time before, the judgment is being served.
So.
Or there are times that they will tell you now what is it even called? Aside prisons, correctional facilities is crowded. There's no place for this person. So if he can settle, it's between the person now and the authority. If he can settle some particular amount, or if he has someone in power that can stand for him, such of these things. And just like you said, it's not every part of Lagos that this jungle justice is being found. But look at it, it's not everywhere that the crime is committed. Like I said, there are some places that you can't even commit a crime. Where will you start from? Then there are some places that is too open for anything to just happen. That's why I mentioned the market. I mentioned some public places and even some slums. When we're talking, it's not just Lagos. We have even cities like Abuja where you find these cases too. Yes, Abuja is well structured, it's the federal capital, but we have some areas in Abuja that when you see them, that, okay, this is a place that you yourself shouldn't be. This is a place that you yourself, you should be careful because things can happen. And we all meet different people from different races, background, meet in the market, meet in public spaces, meet in the parks, meet in different places where crimes like this tend to happen. And when they happen, what will happen? When you shout or you start shouting, maybe it's your phone that is being snatched, and you start shouting like, okay, my phone, or thief. Before you know, people will gather. Before you know, someone running, and you are pointing at the person. That's the person that will be caught, and that's the person that will be beaten. There's no explanation. There's nothing like, okay, interrogation. Did you do this? No. It's first of all beatings and the rest that will follow. Even in Jos, there are times that we used to have things like that, even though it wasn't like on the high side, but at least you find one case or the other. And that's why I said it's based off from experience, from anger, from situations of the country, because people tend to judge things by themselves now. They don't like to, this is what is being done, let's take it to the proper authority, because at the end of the day, even you that is reporting as the eyewitness, you are not safe, because it will be concluded, okay, you are part of it. Or when the police comes, they just gather everybody that is at the scene without any explanation that, okay, no, I am an eyewitness, no, I was just passing by, no, this proper investigation is not being done. Do you understand? That at the end of the day, everybody, just you being a passerby, before you know, you are tagged with an offense. That is not so. So people just like to, okay, you are the thief, let's settle it now and then. And it's mostly like, okay, they do it because they want other people to learn their lessons. When you see that you are a thief and your fellow thief is being burnt to death, you will be careful coming to that community next time. But when you see that you as a thief, your colleague steals something and the authorities are called the next day or even in the evening, he's a free man. Tell me, wouldn't that even motivate you to do more. That's if you don't have the fear of God. You know, it will motivate you to do more. And people saw that as a solution, you know, to curb the crime rate, you know, in the country. Even though there are some people that just have it in their blood. No matter what, they just want to be the killers. They just want to be the punishment servers. Like if someone is caught, they deal with him, you know, accordingly. Then we should not forget that sometimes these offenses, why people take laws into their hands, alleged offenses that draw lynching ranges from crimes such as murder, armed robbery, rape, kidnapping, petty theft, blasphemy, to even witchcraft. For example, there are times I used to read, there was back then, especially in the, is it South, you hear mostly of witchcraft. This old woman, she's a witch, she uses her children for this, she does this, she flies at night, okay, she turns to a bird, or something like that. Then in the morning, before you know, maybe they caught a bird and she transformed. Even though they don't used to show us how she transformed, but they would be like, okay, she transformed. And before you know, she's been beaten, there is tire around her neck, petrol is being poured on her, then set ablaze, you know. There is no process to, okay, you're going to the police to report this woman is a witch. Just imagine it. How
did you even know that
you understand? They will even ask you, how do you know if you're not her colleague? Or how do you know if you don't fly together? Or how? So there sometimes
because the spiritual thing.
Yes, sometimes the questions are crazy. You know, before you even think of reporting, you have to even ask yourself by yourself, because you already know what the police will ask you. You know, at the end of the day, or if you say someone, you are suspecting your neighbor is a thief because he goes out in the morning, by this time he comes back, by this time maybe he has marks, or maybe you've seen him with some ammunitions and all, then you report. Do you know you too, you are not safe at the end of the day, because you will be involved in you are not even the whistleblower now. You understand? You are mostly like the one that is giving the information, and you yourself is not saving the crime and the investigation.
Wow. I believe we'll go deep into why, you know, people take laws into their hands later, and then we just want to take this quick short break. But when we return, we will look at the statistics and then look at how and then why people take laws into their hands. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. We are discussing jungle justice on today's live on ECWA TV Africa, and then still on the set, I still have Joyce with me. You know, we are looking into why people do certain things, particularly take law into their hand. I have this this statistics, you know, gotten from Daily Trust. Jungle justice, 190 killed in 2 years. You know, 190. And I have this, Sokoto 18, Anambra 13, Delta 13, Edo 12, Kaduna 11, Adamawa 11, Lagos 11, Benue 10, Cross River 10, FCT 10, Uyo 8, Akwa Ibom 7, Niger 7, Ogun 7, and then we have the percentage according to the 6 geopolitical zones that we have in Nigeria. We have South 46, Northwest 38, Southwest 35. Southeast 26, North Central 22, and Northwest 13. This is alarming. Joyce.
It is, and if you check the statistics, South, right, is
Yes.
ranking the highest.
Yes.
Just like I mentioned earlier, we have the issue of the witchcraft. And that witchcraft story, I think it was in the States. Like it was frequent. I was just reading it in the news,
Yes.
like, okay, and it's always an old person or old woman. Then we have the issue of the armed robbery, you know, which you can find maybe petty thieves, or yes, if there are some that are armed and maybe they are being caught, they will be dislodged of their arms and beaten to death, and maybe some of their colleagues will run off. Then we have even the kidnappers. And this is mostly, this one because I've been reading of the story in the Aperture City, that's the Federal Capital Territory, where we have the one chance, the term used as one chance. It has become a term already in Nigeria because it's often in the story, and mostly you are giving just where you are boarding a taxi, you know, it's just one chance. It's just one space that is available for the person to take to board the taxi, and at the end of the day, you are the victim of that crime. Where maybe, for example, when you board the taxi, you are ignorant that okay, these people are criminals in the taxi, or they are out for operation, you understand, for a particular crime. Then you as a victim or innocently you enter it, and before you know, you are being beaten, or you are being your possessions are being taken away. I was once a victim of that, yes, in Abuja, and it was trending that period in Abuja. I think it's even like less now. Just like I said, there are so many other issues that are now shading these other ones that we don't get to hear. Like they are not happening. They are happening, but we don't get to hear because our focus now is on banditry, on kidnapping, terrorism, you know, kidnapping in the big ransom. Form, you know, where you pay ransom just to source or to fund their lifestyle and to form that cause they are doing. But this other kidnapping, the other type of kidnapping is when you enter, just like I said, the one chance vehicle, before you know, your possessions are being taken, or you are being raped if you are a lady, or then or taken to the ATM. I've heard of that. My cousin too was a victim of that, where she was where she entered the one chance vehicle. Before you know, they were asking her for a lot of things. They took all her possessions, then they took her to the ATM. She had to withdraw some money, give them, and all. And you know, they take you there so that they will see the ATM machine camera would know that, okay, it was you that did the transaction yourself, and you are being given. You know, all these things, they are terrible crimes.
Some even use POS.
Yes.
In the car.
Serious. They are terrible crimes that at the end of the day, when you sit and think about it, when somebody is going through that, or when a person is caught doing that, that anger will rise from your stomach that you just want to end that type of person. And you see the pictures, they are very, you know, my body is already, like, you feel, when you see things like this, you even feel pity for them. But we should not conclude on this type of punishment, because there are some people that are actually innocent.
Yes.
Yes. And I would like to talk about, yes, I would like to talk about the Alufo boys that were lynched one time in October 2012. You know, okay, let me just read it. The Alufo lynch was a necklace lynching. Lynching is the practice of extrajudicial summary execution and torture carried by forcing a rubber tire filled with petrol around a victim's chest, just like we saw in the other picture, and arms, and setting it on fire. The victim may take up to 20 minutes to die, suffering from severe burns in the process. Now, the Alufo, there were 4 boys that were involved. That's 4 young men. There was Ugona, there was Leod, and there were Chideka and Dekena Elkana, all students of the University of Port Harcourt. They were all lynched after they were falsely accused of theft in Alu community. It's a community in Akpo local government area, Rivers State, Nigeria. And this was done on 5th October 2012. Imagine, it's already 9 years now, you know, and at the end of the day, it was found that they were innocent of the crime that they were being accused of. So sometimes, that's why I said sometimes you don't just conclude that, okay, these are the criminals. No, investigation is supposed to be properly done, but we don't have much belief in our judicial system, in the authority, that we just take our chances and without wanting to risk any situation, we just take laws into our hands.
You see, this issue of being totally ruling out that some people may be innocent. You are right, because I was once told of a story of someone, you know, he has a beef with someone concerning, it's all about girlfriend. So, and he don't know how to approach the whole thing. So one day they were around the market, so he saw the guy. So before he knew, he created a scene that the guy stole from him. And then before you know it, he started shouting.
People don't want to hear anything.
Yes, and it was around the market. So before you know it, people started he started shouting, you know, thief, 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 thief. And before you know it,
He was lynched.
you know, he was lynched, you know. But thank God for the guy, you know, they didn't kill him.
Okay.
Yes, it was later, you know, but he was seriously beaten, and then with serious wound. It was later, you know, the whole thing now came out that this is the real thing, because when the security agencies came and then they rescued the guy, so investigation now they picked up the issue and they started investigating. They later found out that they are just having a beef, and then you can replicate that. You know, there are issue of cultism that a particular group and a particular group, they can just meet somewhere, or somebody will just see the rival group and then he will just shout and then mention anything that will just bring people attention, and then before you know it, that person will be lynched. And then the issue of anger is one particular thing that we can't rule it. Yes, because when there was a time, my own experience, you know, with my close friend, you know, robbers attacked him, you know, in the night. And then luckily for him, you know, he was able to overpower them. He caught one. They really, their intention was to kill him. Because it was later that he realized that the people are just his neighbor, the guys.
Okay.
Yes, wow. Are just his neighbor, two houses in between, you know, and then they came. So they tried, and then he struggled. He caught one. And after the people gathered, they were like, they should lynch him. The people say no, they should take him to police station. Then people started shouting, why taking him to police station? This guy live 2 houses, you know, away. And then when you take him to police station, 2 weeks later, the guy is back in the community. The other guys ran away, and then you never can tell what really will happen to the guy. So they were insisting. But the elders now said no, they should call the police. And they did that. So the police came, and then they took the guy. To cut the long story short, after 2 weeks, this guy
was out.
To tell you that guy have to pack from that house. Yes. Number one, he's renting. He didn't plan to leave because of fear. He just have to pack. So people just, you know, friends came around, and then we help, and then you just have to leave. And then his life totally was just living in fear, because he just have to be watchful, because he never can tell who will come around, because they have their own voice. So things like this, you know, when things happen, you will see the anger, like you said, we start coming up. You know, you begin to think of those trauma, what you went through, you know, and how those guys are being just set free just like that. You can't even say how. You understand. So that experience, you know, happened with me, and I experienced that. And there's one, you know, around Alheri, is about cult guys. This time around is not the issue of theft. You know, they just come to a particular community, you know, and take whatever they feel, just harass people just like that. And then the community said, no, that will not happen. Anybody caught should be dealt with immediately. And it will amuse you. That is reduced in that area. Yes. So sometimes you are just in between. Like, is it the right way to go? Choice. Like, okay, when someone is caught, let us just do that, or we should just follow the normal process. And if following the normal process, what if the guy is out and then your life is at stake, just like what you say? So we are just in between.
It's a crossroad, because if you are encouraging people to follow the right path, which is the ultimate though, the justice system will have to step up. The justice system will have to know that it can be corrupt. The justice system will have to know that the lives of people are at stake, and it's their first responsibility to protect lives and properties, especially even the whole government, you understand, is to protect lives and property. And even anyone in power and in the same system, you have to know that is your first responsibility. Now, if you are saying, okay, take this thing to your hands, take power, rule of law, and law and order into your hands, are you even doing the proper thing? You are already prosecuting someone, or you are already punishing someone without proper investigation. And who even said you should investigate or you should judge? You understand? You cannot judge. You can't. You did not. That is not you. That is not what you are meant to do. You are also a citizen, and we all have human rights. We have right to hearing, right to, no matter your crime. You know, you have the right to proper hearing.
Yes.
You have the right to every other thing till you are being served your punishment, or this is the crime you've committed, and in the books, this is what is written, that it should be done to you, and it should be done accordingly. Not that, okay, yes, if you steal something, let's say you steal maybe 50,000 naira, and you are being punished with, let's say, 50,000 naira. If you're a thief, or you stole 50K, then your punishment is maybe 6 months in prison. Then you have to do community service. Then maybe you have to pay some certain amount as bail or whatsoever, even though they always say bail is free. But I don't know if I'm not a barrister or lawyer. Then, you know, you have to go through these processes. What if at the end of the day, you are not being served that? What if at the end of the day it's just talk? Yes, it's in the book, but it's not followed. You know, most times we hear situations like this and we give up on our justice system. We say, no, even if I do this proper thing, at the end of the day, this person will be out and he will come looking for me. You know, just like you said, my life will be at stake. Then at the end of the day, will you even have to report this situation, this case? There are times that you are the eyewitness of a situation, but you don't even want to report. You don't want to even call the police. You don't even want to follow through to the station to report that, okay, this is what happened. There are some times that maybe you are not the one that hit someone on the road, but maybe an eyewitness or something happened in front of you. You are even scared of picking that person to the hospital, or picking, because you have to bring police report, you have to bring these, so many other things. Even though I heard that the works are being done in restructuring that police report before treatment. You understand? I pray that it pulls through so that at least somebody can be treated before even the police report. You shouldn't, be it a criminal, be it whosoever, you understand? The person doesn't deserve to die just like that. No. Treat the person, if at the end of the investigation is being carried and he's a criminal, punish him in the right way. Then back then we used to have firing squad, we used to have so many things that when criminals are caught, you know, they go through that. But now it's more of audio. We are seeing how kidnappers, you know, they are caught, or they know where they are, but at the end of the day, they are not caught. There are times that even their pictures come up on internet, they are pointed that this is this person, and they are familiar faces, but at the end of the day, we see them in I don't know. Then there are times that even the people in government, you know, I don't know if the rule doesn't work with that. You see someone in government with so many offenses of fraud, money laundering, then at the end of the day, it's as if, okay, he follows through the court cases, whatsoever. Even in that, is it that his offenses are being forgiven, that he starts campaigning for another position, you know, in power? This is somebody that you can tag a criminal, but he now wants to rule, you know, over people. What are we doing? Do you understand? Yeah. We can't say, you can't judge a situation, or you can't judge crime and all these things we are talking about from down to up. No, it's from up to down. We look at things that are happening. It's not a blame game, but you look at things that are happening up there. No rule of law, no justice. Everybody just wants to do things that they want to do. The rule is only for the poor, the rule is only for the poor masses, you know, that can't afford lawyers, that can't afford the system, that can't afford to go to court with some certain things. There are times that you feel cheated on some things and you feel, okay, let me take this to court. And people will advise you, if you're going to court, it will waste your time. Before you know, they will adjourn the case. Before you know, something will come. Before you know, the system is corrupt. That at the end of the day, you will even achieve, you will just spend money unnecessarily without even achieving the result that you want. So these are some factors that, you know, jungle justice found its way into our system.
Society.
Yeah, and it became like a convention, you know, but thank God that at least we have less of that. But just like I said, there are so many issues that are overshadowing that.
So many issues that are overshadowing
And
that.
you know, there are times that you can even ask, does Nigeria have a justice system
that is working?
Yes. I would like to state this, that there are separate federal and state courts and one Supreme Court. There are essentially two types of Chief Justice, that's the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court and the Chief Justice of the Nigerian Federation, who functions as an Attorney General. Then the second one is the legal system. You understand?
Yes.
So there is a structure already. We have the system. We have the Supreme Court, the legal system. We have just what I read here, the courts and federal, state, and whatsoever. And they are found in so many cities in Nigeria. That's 36 states and the federal capital authority. But are they accessible? Just like I said, can a common man, you know, bring up his case and it to be truly looked upon and said, okay, at the end of the day, he's being served. You understand? With the right, not even punishment, like if I feel cheated now, I can take you to court and I'm being served, you are being served your punishment and I'm being compensated, or whatsoever the case may be. At the end of the day, do I feel fulfilled that yes, I approached the court and I was served, or do I just feel I wasted my time at the end of the day? You know, so many factors into this. I know we are talking jungle justice, but like I said, it's so wide that you have to look at other sectors, at other reasons, at other things before even narrowing it down to why people do that. It's not a justification, you know, but people need to understand that there are so many of these things, and the government, be it people in power, authority, even citizens, because this affects everybody. So everybody in a country will have to be exposed to the knowledge first. They will have to know what is right or wrong. They will have to know the rule of law. They have to know that, okay, even if someone is breaking a rule, doesn't mean you should break it, because you don't know when, by breaking your rule, you might be apprehended and punished, you know, for something that you were just careless about, or thinking, okay, this person in authority is doing it, so I can do it too. Or then you have to be careful to where you are at a particular time, just like the example you gave of someone being a neighbor to some other people that wanted him dead. You understand? When you go to a new community, you have to be very careful. You have to understand your neighbor's character. You have to understand the behavior of that environment. And you have to also submit yourself to that community for them to know your behavior, for them to know your character, so that when something happens, they can, you know, vouch. Yes, they can defend. No, this person is not like that. No, this person cannot do that. You understand? But when you are just, when you show them that, okay, that's why you see this cultism thing. A lot of people speak against it because it's a reputation. Youth, they are tarnishing their reputation. If something tomorrow happens, maybe they are not the ones, but they will be forced to point that, okay, the armed robbery was carried out by them.
Right.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. And looking at what you said, how you painted the picture on reasons why, you know, we found ourselves in this situation, you know, even though, yes, we can say it's now going down, not totally eradicated, but because it's been overtaken by other critical crimes, you know, when you talk about kidnapping, banditry, cattle rustling, you know, and then cultism as well. Because when you go to some communities, you know, is what is really, really trending.
Yes.
Because people's lives are just under siege in a particular community, because once it's 6 o'clock, you know, you find out certain areas you can't send your child, even you as an adult, you know, your valuables, either phone or laptop or
Even your life.
Your life, yes. You know, as common as phone of 20,000, you resist. Someone can just.
Even without resisting, there are sometimes they are willing to give, but they prefer to take the two.
Exactly. You know, I want to look at it area of our morals. Should we say, you know, the morality, you know, have totally vanished from our community? Because you talked about something, you know, well, before then, you know, you can't just do anything wrong, you know, tagged by the society, seeing it, it depends on the community. And then you just do something that is not okay with them and you just get away with it. You know, back then, we have the, like we call it, the world, the Meanguas, you know, the
community leaders.
Yes, community leaders, whereby something will happen. You know, you see the process, reported, you know, going through, somebody reporting that, no, see, this person, you know, even beat his wife, and then he's not acceptable in the community, and then you take him to the district head or whoever is in charge, and then you see the process, and then everything will be resolved amicably. And then now, even the community leaders are not even respected. You see people just doing things like, we are just in the bush, we are animals where there is no structure, you know, anyone that you overpower, you lynch. And then I'm looking at the area of morals. Joyce.
You know, corruption doesn't necessarily have to do with money. It has to do with integrity. It has to do with what is proper, what is right for the community, but you refuse to give them. It has to do with so many of these things, even in the aspect of education, in the aspect of social amenity, in the aspect of protecting life security and all. Corruption has eaten deep into that. There are sometimes that, just like you said, community leaders, we have police stations sometimes in those communities that they are there to protect whatsoever happens. They will be in charge of, you know, fighting the crime and all. But when there is a new, what do they call it? What do they call them? Like the head of that station, DPO or somebody in that community. Before you know, community leaders, we invite him over, dine with him. You understand? They're already buying his loyalty. Or a group of people that feel they're kings and queens of the town. They might invite him, dine with them, get over familiar. When you start getting over familiar at your place of work, you tend to do so many wrong things. Corruption will start eating deep. But when you know that, okay, this is your work, this is what you are about, no matter what, you understand? It's not like you can't be friends with people, but familiarity, before you know, for you to even take up the case or for you to even punish your friend, you know, that sentiment will start coming in. Yes, so that's why sometimes the crimes are being committed, you know, knowing that, okay, I have someone in the authority that can defend me. There's times that is even with the knowledge of those authority, okay, this is what I want to do. You have to cover up, or you don't have to punish me with it, or so many other things. Or my son is the one doing this. My son is found in this. Okay, my son was almost lynched at the marketplace. Please arrest him. At the end, in the evening, release him to me and tell me how much that would be. Will the son have sense in knowing that what he's doing is wrong? No, he will know it's wrong, but he will know that, okay, he has a backing. That at the end of the day. You understand? That's if at the end of the day he's not being killed. Or even the people that try to lynch him, those are the people that will be arrested. And from being protectors, they are now offenders of they committed the crimes, and maybe they will be the ones to go to prisons or jail or whatsoever the case may be. Or at the end of the day, huge amounts of money is being, you know, removed from them to settle one or two things. So sometimes you have to look deep into some cases before passing judgment. Sometimes we have to look at, okay, what is the justice system saying in Nigeria? Just like I said, it's so deep. We have human rights, and jungle justice is violation of human rights. You know, people have right to live, rights for so many other things. If there are punishments, I think there should be a process. It's just that we hate process in Nigeria. When things are done, we prefer to just do it the way we want it, or we feel okay because there's delay, you know, we don't want to go through the processes, or because the people that are even in charge of going through these processes are corrupt, you know, that they, at the end of the day, they don't want to go through it and bring punishment. So we have so many of these things, but just like you said, this topic is not just for one episode. We can't even finish it in one episode. In the next episode, I would like to talk on some testimonies of some lawyers where they had to say what they had to say about the justice system in Nigeria and why some things are like that, like serving of the punishment, why Jungo's justice is high in the community or in the society, and how maybe their hands are tied back in going forth with the judgment.
Yes, thank you, George. And you see, like we already established, we said that normally when we bring a topic, we try to just narrow it and then to break it to a smaller particles that at least we can relate with, and then prefer a solution, say our own testimony. Yeah, if you are once caught in such situation, either you directly or your brother or a relative or a neighbor, and then we try to discuss and then to air our own view and then to prefer solution. You know, the primary end is to discuss and then to prefer solution to some of these ills that is happening, so that we will see how we will be our brother's keeper. And then like she said, you know, tomorrow, God's willing, if we come to discuss more about this, you know, we have the testimony of professionals like the lawyers, you know, lawyers, what they say concerning these, what they think, you know, is the main problem, where their hands are tied, you know, because small thing, the hands will be pointed to them, like the issue of events, you know, after he was caught, and then so many testimony, you know, and everything that is...
An investigation is still ongoing and he's awaiting trial. Imagine how many years now.
You understand. And then still at that, you'll find out somebody is talking on his behalf as a lawyer. So all of this, you know, there's a way society react to it. If you know that, why are you standing for him as a lawyer? So, you know, all of these questions. But we believe, you know, in this program, we will definitely find a way out that people will understand how things are being done. Thank you so much for staying with us on today's live on ECWA TV Africa. Joyce, you have a word?
Yes, be good to one another, share love, share light, and be careful wherever you find yourself. Relate to people accordingly, and your character should show forth. Your reputation should be protected, because you live in a world that the heart of man is desperately wicked.
Wow. So because we live in a world that the heart of man is desperately wicked, we should never forget where our faith is coming from. We should believe in our Lord Jesus Christ, because he's the ultimate, he's the source of our living. Remember Jeremiah 29:11. I just urge you to be positive. On behalf of everyone on Equa Television, we are saying thank you and keep watching Equa Television. Bye for now.